So after back-to-back defeats to teams who we're fighting against promotion with, Northampton and Leyton Orient, with an aggregate of 6-1 defeat to us, what does Mark Hughes need to change? Let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. I'm going to put a post on the community tab. You can go that by clicking on the channel and going over to community, and you can vote on there which you think we need to change the most out of them. I'm going to talk about a few talking points to what he could change and the pros and cons of doing that. But obviously we'll start with a formation. He plays a 4-2-3-1, which has been met with a lot of criticism. Obviously Derek Adams persisted with that. Mark Truman played with it, didn't really work. A few have tried and tested that formation in the last few years, but the one that City fans always turn to on social media is the 4-4-2 brigade. And I think to see the best team in the 4-4-2, to get it to work the best, it would have to probably be Lewis in goal, Halliday, Platt, Critchlow, Folds, Sutton, East, Banks, Chapman, Oliver and Cook. And the problem with that is, with the 4-4-2, is that you get overrun in midfield, and you need players who are quick, who can drive with the ball, and box-to-box midfielders. And with Sutton, you have that, and maybe take East out for Gilead, but if we had Odosebi, I'd probably put him in. But the problem with that is you don't have an attacking midfielder, so Walker don't get in the team unless he plays off Cook, which basically you're playing 4-2-3-1 anyway. And yeah, you also miss Smallwood because you need legs in midfield. Smallwood ain't going to be that type of player, and you need players like a Sutton in that role. And Hughes does like possession, and we could then go a bit too direct, forcing it up top to Oliver and Cook, because you can't play through a team playing a 4-4-2, because the structure ain't there to do that. So you give it to your centre backs, they give it to your full back, and you go wide, or your centre backs to slump it up top to two big men, which is Cook and Oliver. So it could be a bit too direct there, and I don't think it will ever happen unless we're chasing a game, because Hughes does like possession football. Onto the other formation I thought about is 3-5-2. If you've got any other formation ideas and how you'd like to see it played, let me know in the comments down below. If you're new, subscribe, and if you like the video, like it. But the main thing is commenting, because I want to see your thoughts and disagree and agree with you, hopefully more so. But yeah, 3-5-2, I think the best 4 players in the formation to go 3-5-2 would be Lewis in goal, Platt, Odesina, Critchlow. It'd suit Odesina more as well with a 3 at back. Smallwood and East, Halliday, Folds or Gilead in that position, Walker, Cook and Oliver. The cons of that is that you've got no White, no Banks, no Pereira, no Isa. You could play Banks in number 10, Pereira in the number 10. You've also got no Chapman as well. So you're missing out some key attacking players. The other thing is you're very reliant on your wing backs / full backs. And another problem is you see a lot of teams who, like Chelsea last season with Tuchel, they play 3 at the back. They're quite progressive with it. They play quite expansive, quite good football, and then they get a bit comfortable in it. Then after a year or 6 months, they become quite defensive and a bit more pragmatic. And the players, your wing backs become more full backs, and your central midfielders who are more box to box become more ball winners who sit in front of the back 3 and protect it. And that's something you see, and then you probably go a bit direct here and in for Cook and Oliver, and it's not the style of play you want to see. So that's always my concern with a 3-5-2 or a 5 at the back. It will always tend to be a bit more defensive and a bit more pragmatic. But yeah, I think with the formations, maybe do stick with a 4-2-3-1, but you have to have the right players in the system with that, and that's something Hughes keeps getting wrong. So in terms of tactical changes Hughes could change or slightly tinker around with, one we have to definitely do, and I think these are more definite what we have to start doing, we've got to up the tempo. Ball goes to centre backs, they take 3-4 more touches when they need to, and then the options have gone, and then they end up passing it between each other, trying to work the opposition to open a gap, and it isn't there. there need to be sharper passes and the tempo has to be a bit higher. The midfield have to come towards the ball. It's something we're seeing a lot, and we've seen it in the past. Midfielders shy away from the ball, the shirk tackles, and they don't look. They look to be trying to get away with not playing well. That they seem to be getting away with not wanting the ball, and they hide away from it too much, and that's happening again a bit. Smallwood isn't that type of player, and he's got to be that type of player because Gilead, in my opinion, is shying away from wanting the ball. So then we'll get into the next bit, but then you have to look at that and say, well, Gilead ain't good enough, he ain't suiting this system. So midfielders have to come towards the ball. If your centre-backs have got it, you need your midfield to come and take it off them. Smallwood, again, he's got to come off set pieces. You've got Banks and Wright, who should be on them. Banks, we know his quality at set pieces, and Terry Wright got a really good assist on international duty. So he's got that quality with them as well. We've got to urge them to take more risks, and if he is doing that, then obviously these players are low on confidence and you shouldn't be picking them. One definitely springs to mind when I say that. And then he's got to adapt to the style of play in game, because teams get too used to it, and you just need to adapt your way of playing sometimes. We did that towards the back end of last season. We started off with maybe a 4-2-3-1, and we'd maybe change it up a bit and go with a diamond, and it worked. We looked more fluid, we looked more adaptable in game, and we didn't look as predictable. And obviously that comes with having a new manager, but we did look a lot better. And with a ex-Premier League manager, you'd think he'd have that experience and that know-how to when to change a game, and he hasn't really done that this season. But I think they're the key points we've got to improve on tactically. And then in terms of personnel, I think we need to be a lot sharper with changes in the game, and then squad selections as well. The same teams every week. There's nothing wrong with not changing a winning team, but when you lost a game or lost a couple of games and you're still picking your favourites or the same players, that's a problem. And the subs are the same. You're seeing the same players feature on the bench, and it's a problem because if you're not rotating, you have players like Young, Sutton, Songo, East, Oliver, a few more fringe players who know the rotation players like Rideau and Hendry, and we could lose them because in January they might say, well, I want to go on loan, I want to play, and he hasn't rotated enough, and he hasn't done it off the bench enough. And there's been a couple of times where players have took the chance and they haven't stayed in the team as well. East against Salford springs to mind, and then picking favourites and persisting with your favourites. Dion comes to mind, and Gilead straight away. He's the player I've been mentioning with confidence, not having confidence to come and take the ball, shying away from the ball. It seems that's just my opinion, and it looks like that from where I'm sitting. I think we've got too many favourites, and Dion, he persisted, and he realised that he ain't doing it. He'll probably go back to Luton in January. But in terms of Gilead, he keeps playing him. He ain't changing anything, and it just looks like he's shying away from the ball, like I said. And I think you've got an East there on the bench. He has to be starting. Sutton maybe, Songo. You've got to change that midfield up because it's very rigid. They don't want the ball, and it ain't suiting the system. So I think if you're not changing the formation and you're not changing it tactically, you've got to change one of them three, or all of them, in these next few games, because they're massive games. We've got to take 3 points from nearly every one of them. Rochdale, who are down there, Gillingham down there, Harrogate down there. Carlisle will be a tough game, but we've got to try and pick up maximum points out of them. Take a point against Carlisle, but after them last two games, pressure's on now, and we'll see who has the confidence to come out of it on the better side. But I think they're the three things. You've got to change most things from them. If he keeps with the same team selections, keeps with his favourites, don't change up tactically, and if he keeps the formation, then you've got to change one of the two of the personnel or the tactics. But let me know your thoughts in the comments down below, and go on the community post to vote as well. Have a good one.